Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 20. They came to the other side of the sea, to the region of the Gerasenes. As soon as he got out of the boat, a man with an unclean spirit came out of the tombs and met him. He lived in the tombs, and no one was able to restrain him anymore, not even with a chain, because he often had been bound with shackles and chains, but had torn the chains apart and smashed the shackles. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day, among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always crying out and cutting himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and knelt down before him. And he cried out with a loud voice, "What do you have to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you before God, don't torment me." For he had told me, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." For he had told him, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." "What is your name?" he asked him. "My name is Legion," he answered him, "because we are many." And he begged him earnestly not to send them out of the region. A large herd of pigs was there, feeding on the hillside. The demons begged him, "Send us to the pigs, so that we may enter them." So he gave them permission, and the unclean spirits came out and entered the pigs. The herd of about 2,000 rushed down the steep bank into the sea and drowned there. The men who tended them ran off and reported it in the town and the countryside, and people went to see what had happened. They came to Jesus and saw the man who had been demon-possessed sitting there dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Why were they afraid? Because when you witness such real power, everybody in that city knew how demon-possessed this man was. That city has tried binding this man with shackles and chains over and over again until nobody was strong enough to be even able to get the shackles and chains on him any longer. So they left him and banished him to the hills to live there, away from everybody. When these people witnessed this, it became so real to them that they rejected God. They rejected Jesus. They rejected everything that he was bringing. And they despised him. They told him to go away from their land because they were too afraid to face him. It was too real for them. This is the same thing that a lot of people in today's world do. They're scared to admit or to acknowledge God. And it's easier for them to just say, "No, God exists," than to have to admit that one day they're going to have to stand and answer before this God for all the things that is wicked, that he says don't do, that these people love to do so much that they just do not want to let it go. So it's easier for them to just deny him altogether and say he doesn't exist. The men who tended them ran off and reported it in the town and the countryside, and people went to see what had happened. They came to Jesus and saw the man who had been demon-possessed sitting there, dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it described to them what had happened to the demon-possessed man and told about the pigs. Then they began to beg him to leave their region. As he was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged him earnestly that he might remain with him. Jesus did not let him, but told him, "Go home to your own people and report to them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." A lot of time we're so ready to just go with God when he saves us. But God's not done using us yet. He doesn't save us just so that we could go with him, just so that we could get to heaven. He saves us so that he could work through us, so that his spirit could become alive in us and we could live through him. This is why Jesus sent him back home, because God wasn't done using this man yet. He needed to use his testimony. Jesus did not let him, but told him, "Go home to your own people and report to them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." So he went out and began to proclaim in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and they were all amazed.